This is John here, and I'm here to introduce my new macro, GDG Fountain Click Extreme. I'm going to start off by making a fountain fill, and I'll get into this later. But its main purpose is to sample a fountain fill, and we can use single or multi-mode. If we use single mode, we select this, and it will sample the colors in a single shape, the number, the color, and we can disable or enable colors. If I wanted to remove a certain color, I could even resample it. That's my new color. Or I could just go back and undo. Undo again. Where did we have that orange? What we can do with these is I can change a color. So I could select this and easily change a color in the fountain fill. Or if I hold shift on my keyboard, I can change a position of a color. This is at position 6, so I'll hold shift and we'll put that at position 80. And that changed the position of that color. Another thing I could do while this is selected, or even if it wasn't selected and I had multiple items selected, was to use the evenly distribute button. This will evenly distribute the colors in that fountain fill. Now when I resample it, you can see all the colors are evenly distributed throughout the fill. Let's try multi-mode. I'm going to select all these shapes, and if I had nothing selected, multi-mode would find colors throughout the page, and all of these colors are in a fountain fill. The number on multi-mode is simply a number. It doesn't correspond with the position in any particular fill. On single mode, however, it did. Position 20, position 50, 60, and so on. But let's select these two shapes here. We'll do multi-mode, and these are the colors that it found. These are all colors, only colors that are fountain fill colors. If I was to select a color, it would find a shape that has that color in it and select it. So I'll select nothing here. If I had something selected, it would only search within the selection. If I select nothing, it found that this is the only shape on the page that has this color. So let's go back where we had that white, and that happened to be in all three fountain fills. So if I wanted to change this, I'll hold shift and I'll change that to a blue, and in all the fountain fills that white was changed to the blue. So multi-mode is handy for finding colors throughout the entire page, fountain colors, and you can change these colors easily and quickly and in multiple shapes at once. This button will clear it, bring us back to our simple normal display here. Other modes of this macro, I'm going to make a few more fills real quick, include angle. We can change fountain fill's angle on the fly with this part of the macro. And notice radial fountain fills do not use the angle property. Next we have edge pad, and it works on all selected. I can change the edge pad in all selected items, and notice edge pad does not work on conical fountain fills. We can change the steps, and this is one I like to use. You can get different effects by using less steps in your fountain fills. Next is a whole macro in itself, and the only one of its kind that I know of. It's the random fountain fill generator. We can select some shapes and use our options here to generate a random fountain fill. Let's do conical and square. Let's do from our default palette, and we want all to have 5 steps, we want a 0 edge pad, and we want all to have 5 colors. You notice how I didn't put the dash? If I don't put 2 numbers with a dash, it will give me only this amount and not generate a random number for this part of the macro. So if I want a random amount of steps, I would actually have to put 2, and steps you can go up to 999. If I wanted a random edge pad, I would put 0, and for the edge pad you can go from 0 to 49. So I'll just put 0 to 1, and that'll give me 0 or 1 edge pad. You can put whatever you want, and it'll tell you that on these pop-up tips here. It'll tell you the minimum and maximum values, and it also explains what happens if you don't put a dash. So if I was to use that, I would still have 5 colors in each item. But if I wanted a random amount of colors, I could do 5 to 10 and up to 100 to get a random amount of colors. Let's see, we've got some other options. Our start and end coordinates here. So you notice like this one here, we'll do the conical. You notice its start coordinate is here. You see how it changes the position? And that would affect the square and the radial and the linear as well. I think these give you some really neat effects, and it describes that with your check marks here. Angle, random angle for the fountain fills. Position, if I uncheck this and I had 5 colors in the fill, it would evenly distribute the colors across the fill. With this checked, the positions will not be evenly distributed. The positions of each color would be a random number for what the position can be, 0 to 100. And that's the random fountain fill generator, and it works with lots of shapes at once. You can get some neat effects. You can find, if we want a linear and we want 5 colors, 4 colors, you can find just the right color combination for any job by using this. Very quick and handy, very powerful. Let's delete some of these because I got too many. Now let's select this, sample it, and let's use copy mode. I'm going to copy that to those. Copy mode will copy the last sampled fountain fill to any shapes that are selected. So if I sample this shape here, that shape is forever saved, even if I close and restart draw, as the copied, and I can copy that. Very powerful and handy feature there. This evenly distribute colors throughout the fill. Notice the numbers, the position, and now notice all the colors are evenly distributed throughout the fountain fill. You can see the difference when the colors aren't evenly distributed. You can get different effects, quick ways to change. I could lower my steps on that and you can see exactly how the colors are even. And next we come to, let's change the type on that to radial. Let's put the position over here. Anyways, let's do this one. It's flip colors. It will invert, flip the colors of that fountain fill. If I happen to have these colors showing, it will show you the colors and how their position numbers change. If I don't, it won't. So if I have that open, it will. And it works on multiple shapes at once. Flip, invert. If I was to use the, let's do a little, this is from the CorelDraw, and I could save that fountain fill, by the way, with our save option here, which I'll talk about later. But you can see inverting it does exactly that. Now this is handy and quick and works with lots of shapes at once. It's the X and Y coordinates for the fountain fill, the starting and ending coordinates. So if I have a bunch of shapes and I select all these shapes and I want it to be right here, look at what it did. Let's change these to conical and see if we can see it any better. Move them in closer. That's the starting XY coordinate. If I was to hold shift, as the tooltip says, you can't see because it's cut off in the video, but it would change the ending XY coordinate. So pretty neat. Let's try that with a couple more shapes. And let's use our random, let's do random radial. Now let's change the XY, starting XY in all those shapes at once, and you can see how they radiate all from this one coordinate, or this one. Pretty neat, pretty cool. Do a lot of stuff with that. let's go to our next feature, which is change the type on the fly. To all those selected, you can change the type. Quick, easy, useful. I found myself using this macro when I designed the box for it. As I do with all macros, I use the macro when I design the box because it's a good way for testing and debugging. Okay, this one here is add a fountain fill color. So I could quickly take this single sample. Let's see, I got my colors here. I want to add a color at position 50. I'll just click here, 50, add a color, and there it added a color. If I wanted to change that color, by the way, this is 1 to 25, 25 to 50, 50 to 75. If I want to add a color at 75, by the way, it'll add that color at 75. Let's even distribute the colors. Quick way to add a color to your sampled, or even all at once. We can add a color to all at once to 41, and it adds that color. Now if I single sample this, you can see the color. I could easily delete that color by clicking the X, and it's gone. Delete that one. Bam. Multi-mode, I could take that color and change it throughout by holding Shift. We'll change it to yellow, and it changed it. Oops, let me redo that. Anyways, let's select all the shapes. I'm going to change this color throughout. So I'm going to hold Shift, and I didn't actually select the color last time. I accidentally pressed OK without sampling the color. So let's change that to yellow. OK, changes it to yellow throughout, RGB. So multi-mode, you can change colors in multiple fountain fills at once. We could also use the add button to add a color at a specific position in all items at once. Let's see, what else did we not talk about? We got the final feature, the save fountain fill. If I select a fountain fill, let me do random on these. I like the RGB. I like more colors too. 30 is enough. No edge pad. I don't like to mess with the edge pad. Let's do 100 steps. And we're gonna let it go. There's some pretty cool stuff going on there. Save fountain fill. Move this over a little. If I wanted to save this particular fountain fill, I can click on this. I can add it, and I'll just call it my weird color number 1. And it is saved, and it will always be saved, and I can always use that later. Here's another one called Test 1. When you have it loaded, select your shapes, and to activate it in those shapes, press the C or the copy. Very simple. And you notice these are disabled. Once I sample them, it's enabled, and I can do what I want with that those fountain fills. Let's get back to our weird, and it loads it, and it tells you when it saves it. It's a square with 6 colors. These are the colors. So we load that, and let's select us some shapes, and we'll copy it to those shapes. Actually, this is the weird. I need to sample it. Make sure you sample the color you want to save. So I just sampled it. Let's save it. We'll call it Weird 2. It saves your last sampled color. So now if I select the Weird 2, you can see the color. I'll select some shapes, and I'll apply it with the C button. And that's a pretty cool way to save your fills. You can add a fill, delete a fill. Whatever's highlighted here, if I click delete, it would delete. If I wanted to delete all the presets, I would hold Shift and press delete. Are you sure you want to delete them? No. And that's pretty much it. You can do a lot of stuff with this macro. If you work with fountain fills a lot, this macro is going to just save you some time and enable you a little bit more power. You can do a lot of stuff. I used it a lot when I created the box, and it came in real handy. You can take a look at the box that I designed, and you can tell I would actually just use a lot this random generator, and I've come up with some neat color combinations that worked for the fills when I was designing the box. So I hope you enjoy the macro, and it's available at the site now.